And good morning. Welcome to another edition of Coach's Corner here on the Highliner Activity Network here from the Hack. As we kick off the weekends almost here, and that means a lot more basketball coming up, and we've got a lot to talk about. We're going to kick things off with Coach Jim McDaniel from the Highlander boys. Morning, Coach.
Morning.
How you doing?
It's going well.
It's going well. Well, we've got a game coming up here on Friday in Devil's Lake, but let's step back to the BCT. Highlanders winning it. I didn't know this when I did the research, but first time a Valley City team has ever won the BCT.
Yeah, and I don't know if Valley has been in it a whole lot of times, but we played well, and it's neat to have that trophy back in Barnes County.
And I know you were talking last week about the free throw contest. You knew the two guys shot well. Well, one of them did, as Mike and Matson won the free throw contest. Now, can he do that during a game?
Yeah, well, our free throw shooting hasn't been our best percentage in any game, so hopefully that kind of kicks us going a little bit. Both guys shot well, and Mike and won that award, and that's pretty cool. I mean, you got to make 24-25.
Yeah.
He did a nice job.
What was one thing of those three games that impressed you, or that you were pleased with the way we played?
It pointed out things that we needed to work on, of course, and so we've been working on that in practice. But, every game had a little different feel, a little different, personality to it, I guess. We scored 78, I think it was, against White Shield, and White Shield puts up 60, so a little more up and back, and the guys handled that well. And then, that last game, that first quarter was not bad. Then it was kind of a slow, we kind of shut down Barnes County North for a while, and it was, kind of a low scoring game.
Yeah.
The Mayport Clifford Galesburg game, that was kind of pounded, very physical game. So everyone, and I thought the guys kind of played every style, pretty good. I think we got a ball control a little bit better. We've been working on that. So, I think it should be a good test for us now as we move into kind of that next stage of our season, I guess.
Well, that next stage, starts here tonight, or actually Friday night. You head up to Devil's Lake for their shootout, and you got Stanley, I think, Friday, and then Rugby.
Stanley Rugby. Both last year we went up there, and we beat Stanley and got beat by Rugby. Both teams are solid teams. I think everybody in Class A on a given night can beat anybody else. I know Kindred and Devil's Lake, of course, they're the ones everybody's kind of watching out for. But if we don't show up to play on any given night, every team is it's a fun league. So we better be ready to go.
It is really showing year two of the three-division system how well it is working out.
I think so, yeah. And I think the Class A, everybody is so closely matched that every game, if you want to go watch, good basketball, you're gonna see a very competitive game, and it probably is you're not gonna know who's gonna win until those final minutes of the game. So that's exciting for the fans. Maybe not as exciting for us on the sideline, night in and night out. Good thing I don't have a whole lot of hair to lose.
I'm not saying that, but I'm not going anywhere. Now with what you've seen with this team, there's still obviously a lot of work that can be done. I mean, you've only played a handful of games. Where is one of the rooms of improvement you'd like to see? Well,
we talk about it every day. We want everybody touching the ball on the offensive end. So we talk about that every day. We want an offense where it's just not one guy coming down and we're just trying to focus on one guy. We need touches where we're going to get perimeter shots coming from inside and out. We want where we're making passes and cuts so that we're getting those slashes to the basket where we're getting baskets. And then, if we can pound it into the big guys inside and we can get baskets that way. Now you got everybody scoring points. It's hard to defend. They can't just pick a guy and say we're going to shut him down, which if they do, that's fine because we got the four other guys on the floor. We tend to get 6 or 7 guys into the game, and I think all 6, 7 guys should be putting points on the board if they got the opportunity.
Obviously, if you look at the points right now, your points are coming from Mike, and there your points are coming from Bryson and Jack. But one person I wanted to talk about when I was at the BCT, and I leaned over the person sitting next to me at the scores table and say how much I like watching this kid play, is Tegan Zahn and how hard he works. Yeah, he only gets 4 or 5 points a game, but boy, the way he works.
Yeah, and he rebounded well, and you know, he was kind of the sixth guy, and then with Jack Samuelson, you know, having to sit out now for a little injury and stuff, he's getting more time, and Andrew Sikora coming in. Those guys, yeah, they have really stepped up and done a nice job with what their role is, and that's what's nice is, you know, understanding your role, doing your role, and that's, yeah, Tegan's on. He's doing what he is supposed to do. He's not trying to do way too much, you know, and yeah, he's had some really nice games, and I look for many more.
And he's got a high basketball IQ too.
Yeah, he's he likes the game, and he's a very coachable kid, so he's trying to do what we're doing. So yeah, so those guys, like you said, we're getting a lot of points from those three guys. Again, I think we can get points from those other guys. Right now, Finn Doctor, we've been putting. He's been having probably the toughest defensive assignment. You know, he was on Schlenker the other night, and then you know, I can't think of the kid's name from Mayport.
Bricker Johnson, probably.
Yeah, it was Bricker Johnson. So that's who, you know, and the other games, those kids were scoring some points, and then when we played them, their point totals were way down, and that was Finn's assignment, and so he did he hasn't been getting a ton of points, but he's kind of been doing some of that dirty work that nobody really knows about too. So you know, I generally am playing 6 guys that are getting a lot of minutes. All 6 guys are kind of doing their job of what they need to do. Mm-hmm. And if we can get a little bit more mix, you know, those guys, you know, Tegan's on, he's been getting 4. Finn is kind of right around that 4 or 5, and Andrew Sikora. If we can get those guys, you know, a little closer to double figures, because those other guys are still going to have the points also. So when they have the opportunities to score, that's why we're trying to get everybody touching the ball and the ball moving and everybody moving. So.
And they're getting good looks. Eventually, those balls are going to go in.
Yeah. And then when you get to the free throw line, let's knock those down.
Yeah,
because we've had a little bit of trouble with our percentages there. So we're getting better. Yep.
What do you expect out of Stanley? Do you know anything about them, or is this a case where now let's just get in there and go?
Watch film on them. They got 2 6'6" guys, which is going to be you know, a little bit of a issue. You know, it's not always you're going against 2 guys that are 6'6". Mm-hmm. And they got a pretty they got a senior guard that kind of leads the way a little bit for him. So again, trying to slow that guard. You know, that's where it kind of all starts. And then we've been doing a lot of with boxing out and rebounding. So hopefully we control those guys on the board. Both those guys, good players. They do stay more into the post where we don't have to chase them around. You know, where like Kindred, you know, they got all those tall guys and they can go out and on the perimeter. They can go inside. These 2 guys for Stanley, they're big, but they've typically what I've seen is they're post players. They're not out handling the ball, which helps us defensively.
Devil's Lake, I think their big guys like to go out there and shoot.
Yeah,
because that wears on your big men defensively.
Yeah, I mean, we would rather have Jack, you know, inside, defending inside under the basket. We don't want to extend him out that far. So then you start making changes where now is Bryson going to guard that, or you know, Jack Samuelson would sometimes have that responsibility, but. I think that helps us if those guys are staying more in the post. Our post defense is a little better if we can keep Jack close to the basket. So
after this week, now do we get into that normalcy schedule where you're looking at 2-3 games a week?
Yeah, and I've said it to the JV guys. They have been great because you know, I got 6 guys that are getting, you know, minutes in the varsities. Mm-hmm. All those other guys, depending on situations and things, they know that their minutes are not going to be, you know, a whole lot of minutes. They've done a great job in practice. You know, they're working just as hard as they would be if they were having games. So they've been pushing those guys that are getting the time, and they're patiently waiting for Monday we go to Oak Grove. Yep. So now we have a JV and a varsity. So those guys are going to get a full game. You know, we only got 14 guys, so they're going to get in and they're going to get a bunch of minutes. But we're needing those JV games to get those guys minutes, and we can see how we can, possibly use them in varsity situations and things like that. We just haven't had any games for those guys, and so and then so Monday next week, Oak Grove, we go there, and then Friday, Saturday, we have Killdeer Beulah coming here, which is a JV So now, after we get through this weekend, it's JV varsity every night, and I know those JV guys are excited to get on the floor.
And like you said, those JV games are not just to get them minutes, but also to see what you're working with. Because practice is one thing, game situation is another.
And there's guys that in practice are working hard, and when you have this long a time where they haven't gotten a chance to play in a game, the excitement of the game and all that kind of, those kind of things, they, everybody kind of steps up a little bit. So it'll be fun to we've gotten to see their skills in practice, and to get them in a game and see how they play. We're excited about that too.
I talked about things they got to work on. What do you like about this team right now, Coach?
Our work ethic, I think, is pretty high. I mean, defensively, we don't take plays off. I thought at the Barnes County, again, playing 6 guys, nobody's asking to come out. I'm taking them out for purposes of, they work hard. I think we're in really good shape. So the work ethic is I think, top notch right now. And if you're willing to come and work, and you're willing to work in a game, and you're not going to take plays off, good things are going to come. They're coachable. They work hard. They're trying to work for each other. And the more games that we get, that togetherness just gets better and better. So I look for good things as we progress through the season.
Or I've never seen anybody blow out a tire either and blow a shoe out.
I mean, but that's the thing. I'm trying to think. It might have been the Dunseith game here over the Christmas break. I was luckily, standing and walking down the bench, but they hustle after everything. Bryson practically, if I'd have been sitting down, he'd have taken me out. Finn, he's been some physical therapy. He had a kind of a little nagging injury that started this summer, and so he was really not doing much all summer when that happened. He was physical therapy, so he was just kind of getting slowly back as the season started. And you get in a game and he's diving on the floor. Their competitiveness and their work ethic is high. So you're going to grind out games when you got guys doing that.
And they enjoy themselves. They have fun out there.
They are having fun, and they have fun when they're playing. They have fun, as we get out onto the court in practice. We're getting on a bus tomorrow and spending a night in Devil's Lake, and they're excited about that. They have fun together. So if that can continue, that's half the battle right there. I think if that's almost more important than the X's and O's as we get through the season. All
right. Well, the Stanley Blue Jays here on Friday, then the Panthers of Rugby on Saturday, but the next important game is tomorrow night.
Tomorrow.
That's the next one. We'll worry about rugby after that.
Yeah, and I haven't watched a whole lot of stuff on rugby. We're going to get to watch them when we're there, and we're worried about Stanley right now. And then once that game's over, we'll talk and watch a little bit about rugby, and then we turn right around in Oak Grove. And now it starts where we're getting some games where they count for the region. So we got to be ready to go on Monday at Oak Grove. So.
All right, Coach. Congratulations so far off to the BCT win, and good luck here this weekend.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You bet. Coach Jim McDaniel joining us from the Highlander boys basketball. We're back with more Coach's Corner here from the Hack on the Highlander Activity Network.
got to make practically them all.
Back here on Coach's Corner on the Highline Activity Network, and stepping into boys wrestling, and Coach Trevor Hansen joining us from the Highliners. How you doing, Coach?
Good, doing good.
Well, we had the Rotary here this past weekend for the Highliners, and we got one champion in Colton Griebel. And I guess we can start with Colton. And but what a great weekend for him, getting a chance to face Ben DeForest again. Did he come in with a different mindset now that he'd saw him the week before at the Rumble? He knew what to expect, and then he was kind of in like, I'm going to change things here. What was his mindset going into that match?
Yeah, he didn't wrestle super awesome at the Rumble. I mean, he wrestled okay, but most of the match was wrestled on the mat, where Colton's really good, but other guys are good too, and not much on our feet. And Ben got the one takedown that pretty much, made the match, and we didn't get off bottom. So he changed his mindset he was going to be offensive. He was going to get a takedown, and he was going to ride, and then he was going to also get out from bottom. And he did all those things, and I won him the match.
That's at 133, and I know he's usually 139. The new rankings just came out, and he's bumped up to number one at 139. When you move a wrestler around like that to a different weight class, is it because of where they weigh in, or do you guys use yourselves as a coaching staff and as a wrestler say, hey, maybe we'll move you down a weight or whatever?
Yeah, more for success for him. There's 2-pound allowance after Christmas, so the Rumble, he got third at the Rumble, lost to Ben in the semis, got third, came back and wrestled really well. I mean, I thought that was a great tournament. There's a 2-pound allowance, so it actually becomes 135. He's not really too much bigger than 139. He's actually probably kind of a medium to smaller sized 139-pounder, but, he doesn't want to cut any weight. He doesn't want to, he just wants to feel good and be strong and all that stuff. But we thought he would have more success at 33 at the Rumble, which he did have a lot of success. And then we also thought at 33 at the Rotary. And the Rotary was actually 2 pounds and an extra pound, so it actually ended up being 136. So it really wasn't far off of what he had been making earlier in the year at 138 or 38 and a half or whatever. So, and of course he won his fourth Rotary tournament. That's the most in Valley City High School history.
Well, and you look at because his mindset has just been that this year, he's not winning the state championship last year. He's really come in a focused wrestler. I talked to Coy when he was here during the holidays, and he is seeing something different about Colton. Colton's mindset has just gone to another level coming into this year. It seems like. Yeah,
he has jumped levels, both physically and mentally. He's always been mentally tough, and he's a really good wrestler. And he also, was battling a little bit of a knee injury last year, and I think that was kind of in the back of his mind. I'm not saying that that's an excuse. There are no excuses.
Right.
But I just think that was in the back of his mind, and now he's healthy, and he took some time off, and now he feels good, and now he's ready to get at it. So.
Now let's go to some of your younger wrestlers that are really stepping up and doing well. I noticed Owen Hunt now ranked 8th at heavyweight. Dylan has moved into 8th at 215. And, of course, Dylan's a senior, but still relatively new, if you will. How have these young wrestlers really helped your program this year and what they're doing on the mat?
Well, Owen and Dylan, brothers, came out at the same time. One's only a freshman, one's a senior, but, too bad. Dylan was out as a 7th grader and then hadn't come out since then until last year. They helped our team immensely. Of course, they're filling spots. We had another heavyweight for a year or so, and then that heavyweight's not wrestling anymore, so now Owen's there. Owen's having a lot of success. Dylan is doing pretty well. He's battling some injury. I guess he had some surgery done on his wisdom teeth and stuff like that, so he wasn't at the Rotary and stuff, but he should be back tonight, and they're doing very well. Chase Coughlin's another one who's ranked, and Chase had a good Rotary. I think he won 2 matches. I think he went 2-2 at the Rotary, almost placed. Owen Hunt got 8th at the Rotary. And Ryer Muskie, not a young wrestler. He's been in the program for a long time, and he's only a junior, but he got 5th at the Rotary. Had a great tournament. He lost to the formerly number 1 ranked guy in the backside to get to the 3rd and 4th place match. That guy got upset, and then he lost a close one to another kid that we know we can beat. We know we've seen him now. He's not, he's big and strong, but he's not unbeatable. So.
And he took the Rumble off. He did not wrestle at the Rumble Ryer, but he came back at the Rotary, just kind of resting up and getting and ready, because now the grind starts here. You've got a month, and then we're talking regionals. So just taking some time off, is that good for a wrestler too? Is just take a little time off of matches and before you you really hit the grind?
Yeah, for him it's his knees.
Yeah.
You know, he's had both of them scoped, and the meniscus cutout stuff from football injuries leading into last year and leading into this season.
Right.
And he was kind of a fringe kid, whether he was going to go Rumble varsity or Rumble JV, and you know he's probably should be in the Rumble varsity, but you know he maybe goes 1-2 or 2-2, but then isn't placing there, and just the risk and the reward with the injury and or his knees was just better to have him. He came to all the practices. He worked extremely hard. His mindset has changed a little bit too. You know, I can see him and talking about Colton's mindset. I can see where Ryer has kind of changed. He wants to be here. He's at practice. He's working extremely hard, and he knows his goals. He knows what he wants to achieve. So, but yes, we took a little time off, let him rest up, and Rotary was a little more important. He needed to win some of those matches to get some seeding and some of that stuff. So.
Well, back in the conference match with Fargo South here tonight, back in the EDC, and is South a good team that you match up with? Or are they going to have some open weight classes?
They've had many open weight classes.
Right, yeah.
I do not actually know. I emailed I emailed their coach, and I never got a lineup back. So I don't know. I see they weigh in they wrestle about 6 or 7 guys, but they haven't dueled since December 19th. So it's been dang near a month, and a lot of teams haven't. So, but the last time they wrestled, I think they had 6 kids. So there's gonna be a lot of open weight classes. They have a couple good kids in the middle. We match up well because we have a full lineup, and we also match up well because some of our kids that do have matches will match up well. So yeah, it should be a good duel.
Would you move kids around if there's an open weight class? Would you try to move them around so they get it some mat time?
Yeah, definitely Colton for sure. He's our best wrestler. He's got to be wrestling somebody from their team. So if there's nobody at 139, then we would try to move him to 45 and whatever. And we got some sickness going around. Got a couple kids sick. Don't know if they'll be there today or not, just because of illness. So we might have to move some other kids into the lineup as well, all those as well. That would probably be the only movement we make.
Right.
Would be Quincy and Colton. Other than that, then somebody would have to probably sit out.
Right.
But we've got some illness where we can pull a kid out and just be like, hey, you need to get healthy, too. So.
You mentioned Quincy, and then when I was looking at the JV, they had a JV portion of the Rotary, and a lot of those younger kids are getting mat time, and those JV kids, and doing well on the JV level. How is it important for them to get out there and wrestle these JV matches and something like the Rotary or the Rumble?
Yeah, exactly. The JV Rumble was good. We had tons of kids. Simon Trapp, I think, won 4 matches. I think he wrestled 6 matches, went like 4-2. Chase Coughlin, I think, went 3-2 or 4-2. Yeah. Owen Hunt went 4-2. They didn't place. They were 1 round. They lost in the blood round. But Owen Hunt went 4-2. There's another 6 matches for that big guy. He's good and he's getting better, and it's just about feel on the mat. And Cruz Capman went 3-2. There are just lots of guys that had.
Tyson Clable had a good.
Tyson Clable went 3-2 or 4-2, I think, and yeah, exactly. Just great to get match time. And at the Rotary, we did pretty well as well. And we had, Simon Trapp got first, a few thirds, and a few fourths, and it was nice to just get them some matches. Some of those kids are junior high, and they're wrestling, maybe 9th, 10th, 11th graders at that level. So, and, Simon's pretty little, so most of his kids are other junior high kids, but it was good for him.
After Salton, I think, is Storhog next weekend for the boys? Because I know the girls are in Lisbon this weekend, but the boys next weekend. And that's usually a pretty good tournament for you guys as well, isn't the Storhog?
Yep, Storhog has, I saw it just a week ago, 21 teams are signed up, which is about 5 or 6 more than normal. Usually it's about 14, 15, 16. So 21 teams. Now, some of them are small, like Thompson, and there's a few others that are, I'm sure, smaller teams. But 21 teams, this should be a pretty good tournament, yeah. I think we wrestle West Fargo on Tuesday as well. Yep. We got West Fargo on Tuesday. That's a big duel. That's one we're kind of looking forward to. We beat them at Sertoma.
Yep.
So we need everybody back and everybody healthy and everybody ready to go.
I'd be eager to watch Amari Williams and Owen Hunt, because that's becoming a rivalry right now at the heavyweight spot.
Right.
Because I think they've wrestled 3 times, and Amari's got him twice, and Owen got him once, and it was luckily here at the holiday tournament. And do you like seeing those matchups, those rivalries that these kids have, maybe over years or at least in one season with another wrestler?
Yeah.
That's got to be fun.
Yeah, it is. Sometimes you got the upper hand, and you maybe don't want to see that matchup again because you already have the upper hand.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't have the upper hand. Like, right now we've got a win over them. We're 1-2, but Owen, have that match again, get another victory, and he's now seeded eighth or ranked 8th, I guess, in the coaches poll, and so it's good. Amari's good, but you got to push him to deep water and get him late in the match. So.
And he seems like mental too. If you can get him mental, because after he got pinned by Owen, he didn't do so well here. Sometimes wrestlers, that happens with athletes, not just wrestlers, athletes. If the brain isn't focused, things can change.
Yep, exactly.
Well, now you got a month and a half roughly before, actually a month before we start thinking regionals, middle of February. And I know the last poll comes out around Valentine's Day, and then when you see that last poll, it's seeding time is coming up. What does this team got to do as you get ready, and these wrestlers got to get ready as they get ready for this last month push?
Well, starting now is kind of when we start training really hard. I mean, we've already been training hard, but we're going to train extra hard. We're going to do some more conditioning, do some extra things between now and, probably about February 1st. That's kind of our 2.5 week push where we go real hard. We get ourselves in as best condition as we can, and then about February 1st, then we start to just kind of taper down a little bit to obviously reduce injury and stay away from that stuff, and then into regionals. Maybe February 5th. Maybe we would push it a little further because it is a little later this year. So.
Well, it's a fun time of year though when you get into this last month. That's when the cream rises to the top.
Yep. And those kids have to push themselves harder.
Yeah.
They have to drill better. They have to wrestle harder live, and then when we do the conditioning, only they know where they're at.
Yeah.
I can ask you to run sprints, tell you to run sprints, and for conditioning, but only you know how hard you can go. And if you're going full bore, then that's great. And if you're not, then that's when you need to push yourself to the next level. So that's what they need to do.
All right. Well, good luck tonight with Fargo South, Coach, and then next week with West Fargo, and then on we go. But we will talk to you again next week, and appreciate you stopping by.
Yep. Thanks, Paul.
You bet. Coach Trevor Hansen joining us from Highlander Boys Wrestling, back with more Coach's Corner here from the Hack on the Highlander Activity Network. Back on Coach's Corner here in the Highlander Activity Network, and shifting gears, now talking girls wrestling, and Coach Tim Miller joining us from the Highlander girls team. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Paul.
How are you doing this morning?
Good.
Rotary was a pretty good tournament again. For the overall, Miley Christensen, another championship. 9 matches in a row, I believe, is where she's at now that she has won. But talk about that championship match against a kid from Glasgow. Clampett, I think, was her name. It didn't look good there for Miley.
No, it didn't. For one thing, I posted a little article and sent it to whoever for us, posted on Facebook.
Yeah.
The final however many seconds was absolutely exciting, but for somebody that doesn't understand how wrestling works, or they just click it, hey, I want to watch this, if they were to watch that whole match, they'd be like, what am I watching? This is like paint drying. Because the match was 1-0
Yeah.
going into that third period. And I told Miley this yesterday. I said, I just found out because that girl was really good on top. Miley could not get away. In fact, through the first minute and a half of the 2-minute third period, she'd gotten off of her stomach one time, or excuse me, she got past her base, so she got into what we call a quad stand.
Yep. Okay.
Stand up. She got there one time in the first minute and a half, and the girl's last name was Clampett. And I said, I just did some research. This is how good she is on top. That's not her last name. That's her nickname, is Clampett. And incorporate the word clamp.
Sure.
And she was like, really? I'm like, no, not really. No. So the with I believe right around 6 seconds left, she got back to her quad pod, and with 3 seconds left is when the referee called the reversal, when she got her hips behind. The thing I love most about that match, if anybody wants to go on and watch it, is just her expression. If you watch that, I've watched her expression a lot of times when she wins. When the whistle blows, when the match is over. I don't know if you've even watched it, but it's just pretty special to see her joy when that match was over. So,
and to do it the way she did it is it shows what kind of a wrestler she is. That she does not give up. She may be her gas tank is past E, but she finds a way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And good wrestlers do.
Yeah, absolutely. Her a lot of times, she doesn't blow a lot of kids out. I mean, I tell her she's the queen of 2- and 3-point matches. She she's okay. She's never panics. If she has a 1-point lead, if she's behind 1-0, she doesn't panic. She just wrestles. Which is what we want everybody to do. She has a sense of urgency, obviously, but there's never panic. There's never making a mistake because you're getting in a hurry, or a lot of kids want to hurry up and score. No matter what the point is, and no matter where it's at in the match, a lot of them want to hurry up and score. So we have steps that we do on a lot of the things that we do to score. And sometimes we're in such a hurry to score, we skip step 1. We want to just go to step 2 and 3 so we can hurry up and score. Well, by skipping step 1, now it throws a monkey wrench into what we're supposed to be doing, and now we don't score. So in hindsight, hurrying actually backfired on us. But she just is so calm and so just wrestles. Again, we tell kids, you just got to wrestle. Put yourself in a practice room environment. Don't worry about the lights. Don't worry about the crowd. Don't worry about anything else, and just wrestle. And she does that.
It's a mindset, is what it is.
Yep.
It's a major mindset. Well, she had the championship, but it was also, I know Deegan Kirschman had a solid weekend. Really, all your wrestlers wrestled well.
Everybody wrestled well.
You had a couple out, but still, everybody did their job. Yeah,
that tournament is a difficult tournament. It is generally, it's probably equal or just maybe even a shade above. You don't know what our state tournament is because you've got some of the better schools from Montana and from South Dakota that come up. So that can in turn make it tougher than, our toughest tournament's Rumble.
Yep.
Second would probably be the Rotary, and then state tournament. But yeah, as a team, we had 9 wrestlers. We had Victoria out and Catherine out. We went 27-18, and to go 27-18 as a team, that's a sign of good things.
It's averaging 3 wins a wrestler.
Yeah,
my Moorhead math.
Yep.
And but now you've got, you mentioned Victoria and Catherine. I noticed now Catherine is in the rankings at 148, and she may see the person that's right above her in the rankings next week with South Porter, but that's next week. Lisbon is coming up this week.
Lisbon's coming up.
Yep. This is another good Store Hog tournament. What do you know about how many teams are going to be there?
There's 21 teams going to be there, which is phenomenal. That's about as many as we've seen at any tournament other than. Of course, other than Rumble, which was 65.
Yeah.
And I think I'm not sure how many there were at Rotary, but there was more than 21. But 21 is the most we're going to see on any normal small level tournament. Our tournament was we had 15 teams at ours, which was really good. But yeah, so 21 is a lot.
You can take 9 wrestlers again this weekend. You're not sure yet.
Hopefully, we're taking 11.
Okay.
Catherine's been under the weather a little bit since last week. Hopefully she's ready to go here soon. And Victoria is battling a chest injury, and hopefully she's ready to go this weekend. So, and we'll play that by ear, just like we did, just like for the Rotary. She warmed up. She would have wrestled if you would have given her the opportunity to. She would wrestle. She would try to wrestle with 2 broken legs if you gave her the opportunity to. So yeah, we'll evaluate that, and if everything's a go on Saturday morning and she's feeling good, and then she'll wrestle. So.
Do you have to sometimes talk these wrestlers into, no, maybe you should just sit it out because they want to get out there, they want to wrestle? You love seeing that. The wrestler wants to get out there, but sometimes you have to pull back the reins and say,
Yeah, we have a couple that we have to do that with, that would wrestle whether they're hurt or not. And then again, it's like I tell some of them. I tell one in particular. I use this I always use analogies. I'm kind of known as the analogy guy. And I told her, listen, I said, you don't know what's best for you. I said, you think you know what's best for you. And she was, second guessing me telling her that she doesn't know what's best for her. And I said, look at it like this. I said, Tide Pods. I said, little kids, a 5-year-old would probably want to eat a Tide Pod because it's very nice colors. I said, should we let them eat it? Well, no. I said, well, that's what they would want to do. They think they know what's best for them, or they would want candy every meal. Sometimes you just got to slap their hand and say, nope, that's not what, it's not what's best for you. It's not what you're going to do. So, yeah, so one of them we have to kind of treat like that a little bit because, she would wrestle in any situation. But, yeah, for the most part, those that are injured, they understand that, because we've given talks on this. If we're injured, we're risking further injury. And for some of them, you wrestle injured, you're not at your best, you lose a match to somebody you shouldn't, and now that affects seeding for the rest of the year, certainly for regionals and state, which can have a huge effect, what your seed is. So.
And you got a month, you got that month grind too. So are you do similar to what Trevor was talking about? Really work hard, training hard now, and then taper off a little bit early part of February, or no?
Like I tell the kids, we at the beginning of the year, we're gonna ramp this thing up. Right now we're gonna go slow. We don't want to be we cannot stay in our best. You cannot stay at your peak for 3.5 months in a row. You can't. If you tried, your body would eventually start to break down on you, and you would start to go the other way. So yeah, we kind of shoot to be at our best, getting into early February, into middle February. But the final few days before state, yeah, we tone things, let them recover, let them, let injuries heal, and yeah, so we go into state hopefully at peak condition. But now this year, we have regionals the week prior to state, and prior to that, we have region duels, which we are not going to participate in. We just don't have a good dual team. We have too many girls at the same weight. And so that's going to be a weekend where we will do absolutely nothing, and that'll be a good weekend for them to rest.
Your younger wrestlers, we're talking about the Camden Kappaman and Spencer Brown, Bethany Schuldenheis, Valeria. I got to make sure I get her right. How have they improved now? I ask you and Dustin this every week, but each week they get a little bit better, don't they?
Absolutely, they get better. They're all, because they're putting in the work, and there's no secret in wrestling. It's go to practice and work hard and attempt your moves that we're showing you. In the practice room, it's okay you're going to fail. You're going to not have these moves work, and the practice room is to how we sharpen those skills to get so you can make them work. Right. We talk about the formula to go from technique to the wrestling mat, and there's a certain formula we have to follow to get there, and they've all bought into that and they understand it, and so yeah, all 4 of our brand new girls are doing well. We have. Let's see. Bethany is well over 500. She's at 16-9 on the season, and the other 3, they're not over 500, but in their last 8 or 10 matches, they are over 500. Okay. So you can see they're absolutely improving. Val is one that is recently is just figuring things out, things that we can't teach, things that we tell the wrestlers. I could tell you 1,000 times, but it's not going to be the same is if you experience it once or twice. And I call them light bulb moments. Val has figured out that when her opponent even begins to be a little off balance, this is on the mat is where I see it the most, that if we give pressure, we can make them more off balance. And she has scored a lot of points and some reversals by doing that. You can tell she just feels things on the mat that, sometimes take a lot longer than where she's at. I mean, wrestling is not a sport where there's a long learning curve, right? Like I always say, like a lot of kids when they're little, everybody goes out and plays pickup basketball with their friends or goes out in the yard. Nobody says, "Hey, do you want to go roll around on the grass and wrestle?" So I mean, it's the learning curve is huge, and it takes generally, you're looking at 2 years before they really grasp it. So we have 4 brand new wrestlers now, so I expect a big level jump from all of them next year.
Well, one we haven't mentioned Gabby, and Gabby is having another solid year as a freshman. I think ranked 3rd or 4th at her weight class as well. So Gabby Hennig is Gabby Hennig. She's doing what she always does.
She went 4-3 at the Rotary, got 8th. In the 3 matches that she lost, 2 of them she's kind of been. I feel like she's been snake bitten. Like just some bad luck, I don't know. She out of her last 5 losses that she's had, 4 of them, if you would have, halfway into the match, if you would have asked anybody, pause this, they're watching it, they pause it, who's going to win this match? I think 80% of anybody in the wrestling community would have said, well, the Valley City girl's going to win or Gabby's going to win. Somehow those slipped away in some weird instances. So yeah, she's at I just figured this out. She's at a 77% win percentage, but she's very close to having that be well into the 80s. So yeah, she's having a great year. She's battling some back injuries right now, but her and Deegan are both, like I know I mentioned in Deegan's Wrestler of the Week that she's one of our most technical wrestlers. Gabby's the other one. Those two, their technique is at a very high level, and for what the things that they know, things they've learned, picked up. If you were to ask to have everybody put on a clinic and show what they know. In fact, those are the 2 that we have. We have to show technique often. We bring girls out to show technique. Those are the 2 that we most often use to show technique. So no, Gabby's very skilled, very high level technique, and having a good season, and she's got to get through her back injury, and things will be good.
All right. Well, Coach, appreciate it. You got Lisbon this weekend, and hope to see continued good things with the wrestlers this weekend, and then next week. A quiet week next week?
Well, no, next week. Well, we have Wishick on the 23rd.
South Border. Okay.
Yep, and then we have on Saturday we have Napoleon.
Okay.
I know West Fargo was originally on the schedule. We just changed that to Napoleon.
Sure. A couple of good Class B schools.
A lot of Class B schools going to be there.
Yeah. So good deal. All right. Well, Coach, appreciate it, and we will talk again next week.
Thank you.
You
Thank
bet.
you for having me.
You bet. Coach Tim Miller joining us from Highlander Girls Wrestling. Back with more Coach's Corner from the Hack on the Highlander Activity Network. Don't like me.
Oh.
Back here on Coach's Corner on the Highlander Activity Network, and moving into girls basketball, Coach Jimmy Howard joining us from the Highlanders. How you doing, Coach?
Good. How are you?
You sound like me right now, battling the crud that's going around here. We'll step back here. First, we'll just Devils Lake, couple wins up at Devils Lake, and at their shootout with rugby, and Shiloh Christian picked up a couple of wins. What did you like about what you saw with your team up there?
First game, defense, being able to push the ball a little bit offensively, running our stuff up there, playing an early game on a Friday, where we left here with no school and drove all the way up there, got off the bus and had a play, and we showed up there. And then on Saturday, 11 o'clock game, looked like it. And we struggled for a little bit, but we found a way to win ugly. And you have to be able to win different types of games and throughout the season. And when you get to playoffs, then it doesn't matter how you win. It's anyway. And so if you've played some of those games, at least you have some experience with it. So I like the way we battled through that game and finally got it to kind of click in the second half and kind of took off.
Well, you're in the middle of a gauntlet, too. You're playing a lot of games in a short amount of time. And then Monday, you get right in and take on Central Cass, then Kindred on Tuesday. Central Cass picked up a W on the road. Never an easy place to play, and a very good ball club that you've seen that was here for our shootout, but picked up a 17-point win, I think it was.
Yeah, they're a little bit different team now that one of their players is out, broke her arm up at Devil's Lake, and that's a big miss for them. She was someone that could space the floor. It was almost a guaranteed 3 if she shot it. Yeah. And so that changed things for them a little bit. But, we battled defensively, using our length a little bit. We got some turnovers in the press. Our press was looking a little bit better. And we were able to really take over. And they tried to, I think, kind of take Katie Burchell away a little bit. And Sky ended up having a huge third quarter and big game, and so it was nice to see that we have some other players stepping up and taking on that load.
And then Kindred on Tuesday night, and another game too where I think Sky had a big. I think she scored almost all your points in that third quarter, at least for the first 10. But that's another team that's a very good basketball team, and that has always been a tough place to play.
Yeah, and excuse me, they. Yeah. The score looks bigger than the game actually was. With about 2 minutes to go, we had some bad decision-making, some turnovers, and they got a couple easy run-out layups and just kind of widened the score. Yeah. But we battled with them in a rough game, a really rough game, and, we're going to have to be able to get through those and whatnot, but it was just a good test we played 4 games in 5 days, and it was just a good test to kind of see where we're at heading towards the end of the season here.
And they again tried to take her kind of off the mat, but that's when Sky stepped in and had a solid game. And are you seeing just some major improvement with Sky this year?
Yeah, I think she's really, I said the other day, it's starting to get scary. I think she's figuring out the varsity, the speed of the varsity game, that she can take some people off the dribble, where she can get her points playing with Katie, because they both can't be in the post at the same time, and for floor spacing purposes. And she hit a 3, which she is a capable 3-point shooter, and she's gaining that confidence there. And I mean, she like I said, she's figuring out, and you're really seeing her start to blossom. Central Cass, I think she was 24 and 16. Yeah. I mean, those are monster stats. And I mean, Katie still had 16, and I want to say 10, 9. Yep. I said it would have been a quiet 16, but she very much affected the game. And then when those two can get going like that, now it opens up shots for Maddie. It opens up driving lanes for Coda, and potentially allows runouts for Greta. And so we just want to continue to grow that.
And your defense, really, you had a couple of nice stretches where you were getting those turnovers and getting some easy baskets in the early part of that game.
Yeah, I joke because we don't play much but man, and we have some other stuff in, and I said, we play man so well. We have 90% of the game we play it at a pretty high level, and you have 10% where there's a rotation mistake or maybe you're gassed or something happens, but we play it so well it's hard to want to switch to something else because you don't want to give up the intensity and the level you're playing at.
Well, go ahead. I'm saying.
No, but at some point we're probably going to have to play some other things, give our kids some breaks in some areas, and and just give teams other looks.
It depends too, maybe who you're playing. I mean, if you've got a team that maybe a zone will work, it might work that way, or a matchup, or whatever the case might be. You got last night off as far as games, but now you're back at it here tonight, here at home at least. Is that good in this stretch? Okay, we get a home game and it's Northern Cass coming in.
Yeah, just to not have to get on the bus after the game and come home is huge. Northern Cass be coming in, good team. I would use the game if we were on the other end from the BCT saying, hey, we're going to come back with some revenge, so to speak. So I expect them to come in at a high level, play high. Crockett, she can score, and she can score in bunches, and you got to try to keep her contained. And they got some other players stepping up and scoring as well. So we're going to have to be disciplined in what we're doing. But as far as getting to be at home, it feels like it's about time. I know we played in the BCT, that was at VCSU, but really we've played Devil's Lake at home, and that's been it. We've been on the road for almost every single game, and so that also plays into some of that, yes, did other teams have to play 4 games in 5 days? Absolutely, but they also got home, like we were on the road for every single one of those games, and that also can take a toll on your kids. So yes, to be home, when school's out, the kids can go relax for just a little bit, come back in, get ready to play, I think is huge. So we're excited to get a home game, hoping we have a big crowd, and get to put on a show.
And do you look back at what you did at the BCT, getting ready for tomorrow night? Or you know Northern Cass pretty well. Yeah,
you look at it a little bit, but at the same time, is Maddie going to hit 8 threes again? The likelihood of that is probably not, it's not 100%. Could she get hot? Absolutely. Good shooter when she does. She's a good shooter, period. But if you can get her hot, watch out. So, but you got to look at some of that. They're playing defense a little bit differently. We got them in man a lot more. They're playing a little bit more of a 2-3 zone. So how can we affect that and try to get them out of that and make them play man where they're going to have to guard our posts in different situations. But if they stay in that 2-3, we got to be able to hit some outside shots, pull that zone out a little bit, and open things up. So, for the most part, you look at it, but that game plan's not going to work, back to back, because they're going to make adjustments. So, what adjustments do we need to make on the fly, and can the girls make those adjustments will be key.
Winterquist, I think, is another. I think she's one of their post players that can be a headache.
She's actually not with the team anymore. So
okay, then I take that away.
That is different. Yes, she is she was a solid post, and someone that we were going to have to make sure that we had people on. And so their game has changed a little bit, and that's another reason why, you can't necessarily look at that game plan as their team is now a little different. And so what are they going to look like when we get out there? Do they have the same post presence as they did before? Are they going to be more 5-out spread and try to attack gaps? And so we're just going to have to adjust as the game goes on.
So that's going to be the key, how you can adjust.
Yes.
And watch it closely, because here's what's going on. Well, tonight, again, the junior varsity at 5:30, varsity 7:15 tonight. Let's fill the hack. We haven't had a game here in a while that's been one of ours, so we gotta get the fans out here tonight. It's going to be a nice day. No reason to not come out, right?
Absolutely.
And a good matchup with Northern Cass, a Region 1 matchup, so a key game for the Highlanders tonight. And want to get back off and get that bad taste of Kindred out of your mouth and get after it.
Absolutely.
All right, good luck tonight, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank you, and go Highlanders.
That's Coach Jimmy Howard from the Highlander Girls Basketball, back with more Coach's Corner here from the Hack and the Highlander Activity Network. Back here on Coach's Corner here on the Highlander Activity Network, and time to talk girls golf. No.
Not the right season for that.
Not the right season for that. Well, they could still work inside if you can find a place to go.
Absolutely.
Tyler Van Buren joining us here, and we're going to talk Booster Club. It's getting to that time of year that we need to refresh the board.
Yeah, well, we're right in the middle of a lot of the sports seasons right now. We're already thinking about next year. The Booster Club is looking for new members for next year. The May meeting is the first meeting that the new members would take effect, and the old ones bid farewell. It's kind of a fun meeting to say goodbye and say hello all at the same time. So our board is a 24-member board consisting of people that support Highlander athletics. This is a great place to come talk, because anybody watching this show has a passion for Highlander athletics. So
well, maybe I'll have to get on the board. I've thought about it.
We'd love to have you.
I mean, it's not that I have nothing to do, but But what does the booster board, let's just tell people what the Valley City Booster Club and the board does for Valley City Athletics.
Sure. Our year starts out kind of in the fall with a welcome back supper for the coaches, not just the fall coaches, but the whole year. The booster board and the coaches, the athletic director kind of meet, have a supper, talk about the year ahead, coaches' outlooks for their teams. Kind of a fun event. We do a football tailgate in the fall. Sell 50-50 tickets through the stands at the football games throughout the whole season. And then you see us, the most common place people see us in the community is right here at the Hack for our concession stand. The volleyball games in the fall, and then both boys and girls basketball, boys and girls wrestling. We're working the concession stand for that. And it's our number one source of income too, but a very visible part of our role in the community and in supporting of Highlander Athletics is selling the concessions here, which are pretty highly talked about amongst the teams that come. They look forward to our concessions.
Yeah, I know when we were in the EDC, they always said we were the best concession stand in EDC, so that's pretty good. You kind of like that because you always have a wide variety. And the money that you make there, it goes right back to the kids.
Yep, goes back into the athletic program. The school can't support 100% of what the funds needed to run the athletic programs. So the coaches can come to us with requests, or they come to Rob, our athletic director, with requests, and we can grant them, we can partially grant them, kind of assess the need. Sometimes it's the travel gear, uniforms, sometimes it's the shooting net that we got for the basketball teams was a more recent, larger purchase for us. Some things that go above and beyond what the normal athletic budget could do, we want to step in and help. And every once in a while, there's a really large need. Like when they built the Highlander Activity Center here, I know the Booster Club at that time stepped up and made a pretty good sized donation to help make this facility happen. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, it's a 24-member board, and what I love most about the board is there's term limits on this one. A lot of boards you get on, you're stuck on for life.
Right.
And this is a 3-year term, so we lose 8 members and gain 8 members every year. Being the current president, finishing up my 3rd year here, so as of our May meeting, we'll be one of the people bidding farewell to the board, but it's been a lot of fun. The people we get to meet on the board all have the same passion that you do for Highlander Athletics. We want to see it get better. No matter where we're at, we can always be better, and that's kind of our goal. We want to see how we can help with the funding side of that.
And it starts in the fall, so that would be when the term would start, in the fall.
Yeah, technically the May meeting is when we bring you in.
Okay.
There's not a ton that goes on in the summertime, a little bit about our Booster Club memberships and kind of putting that together behind the scenes. But yeah, really, once volleyball and football start in the fall, we're hitting the ground running already in early August. So.
You can't run a program without a good booster club, because the booster boards for schools is a huge financial and supporting aspect of high school athletics.
Absolutely, and it's not all work. There's a lot of fun that goes into. We get to that concession stand and we have fun back there. And luckily, we are all are fans of the game too. So the game's going on while we're back there, but we got a TV behind there we can watch. So thank you for broadcasting that, so we can see it in the concession stand while it's going on.
And that makes people want to work more often, because at least they can watch the game.
Absolutely.
If they want to get on the board, Tyler, what can they do?
Yeah, you can reach out to me, give me a call, find me in the community. My number's out there everywhere. Or else stop by the Highlander concession stand here at the Hack at any game. Just mention to anybody back there that you're interested in being on the board. Everyone there knows how to grab your information, to tell you what you need to know, answer any questions you got, and get your contact information. We'll be voting in our new members around March or April, and then bring them to that May meeting. Right now they're the second Wednesday of every month, but that can change depending on the needs of the board at the time.
Sure. Okay. Well, it's always a fun group, because I've been back to Poppin' Popcorn, and it's a good group to work with, and they enjoy themselves. That's for sure.
For sure.
That is, and that concession stand is. Boy, I could live there, that's for sure.
Some of us do during basketball and wrestling season.
I bet.
It feels like.
And when you know it's done, it's like, this is my last one.
Yeah, we eat a lot of pretzels and a lot of tacos throughout the year. So.
Oh, those pretzels, that's evil. All right, well, Tyler, again, if anybody has any questions, they know how to get a hold of you. Your face and number are all over the place, so we can get a hold of you and find out more.
Sounds great. Thank you.
You appreciate you joining us here.
Appreciate you having me.
You bet. That is Tyler Van Bruggen, president of the Booster Club. And again, just get a hold of him or any Booster Board member if you are interested in joining the Valley City Booster Club Board. We'll be back, wrap things up here on Coach's Corner and the Highland Activity. Back on Coach's Corner on the Highlander Activity Network as we wrap up today's show. And here's what's going on again. We've got Highlander basketball coming up tonight as they take on Northern Cass, 5:30 for the junior varsity. The varsity will be at 7. Robotics tournament. We've got the robotics this weekend, Friday and Saturday with the high school, junior high, and elementary school. I think junior high and elementary is on Saturday, and the high school will be on Friday. So we'll be video streaming our robotics tournament this week. And so that's what's going on this weekend. So a busy next 3 days here on the Highlander Activity Network. And again, just go to YouTube, search Valley City Highlander Activities, and you can find all of our past games and our schedule of upcoming events, what we'll be video streaming here on the Highlander Activity Network. Well, that's going to wrap things up for today's show. I want to thank Coach Jim McDaniel from Highlander Boys Basketball, Jimmy Howard from Girls Basketball, Trevor Hansen from Boys Wrestling, Tim Miller from Girls Wrestling, and Coach, of course, Tyler Van Bruggen from the Booster Club joining us on today's program. And as usual, Ray Nelson, our technical director, camera operator, and producer today. Appreciate her help with us as well. So we will be back again next Thursday with another Coach's Corner. But don't forget, basketball tonight, robotics Friday and Saturday here on the Highlander Activity Network. Until then, Paul McDonald saying thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.